The Colossal Tussle Podcast, episode number 31, and it is time for the Fall Brawl, the War Games.
The war. We need to get the William Regals.
That's right. I'm going in the spirit of the Shockmaster. Because it is I, KJ Shockmaster Johnson, alongside the Canadian Bulldog.
Just John.
There you go. Welcome, one and all, to another episode of the Colossal Tussle Podcast. And this one is an incredibly important one.
Because stacked episode.
Yes, because not only are we going to be dealing with Fall Brawl 1997 and an epic review for, spoiler alert, a pretty epic show, but also all the marbles are on the line. I have done some promo on Instagram.
I see.
I've done some promo on the Twitters because it is predictions time. It is predictions to WrestleMania 39. You will be listening to this when it goes live on Thursday, just in time for WrestleMania weekend, because of course you and I are going to be watching it together in the same room in holy matrimony.
Yeah, you know, we're dropping it a little earlier, so you guys have some time to listen to the pod. And then go watch Mania.
And then get your predictions in with us. Because every day up until WrestleMania, I will be posting a series of polls in which I want to hear from ye about what you have online for predictions. I want to know. Many people, which is kind of a surprise to me that we're going to get into on the Twitters right now, on the Twitterverse right now, is Reigns thoroughly in the lead on our polls to win at WrestleMania 39.
Yep, and we'll get into it once we start the reviews, because I have some thoughts on that as well.
No, indeed. Well, without further ado, how was your week? How are you doing?
That threw me off. It's been a week, man. It's been a decent little week, man. How about you?
I'm doing all right. Yeah. I'm doing all right. I'm happy. I'm rested.
A quick question before we get started with all the fun stuff we got planned.
Yeah.
How have you been liking the road to WrestleMania so far?
It's been fine.
You sounded so excited. I thought you were gonna.
Well, because sadly, the only things that I'm really interested in are the main event, of course, the tag title match, Usos versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and really not very much else. I think the only thing that I'm interested in more so for the spectacle of it would be Rollins versus Logan Paul, because I'm almost certain that is going to steal the weekend.
Yeah.
I am almost certain. I would put my money on it. If we were doing a bonus question of what would be match of the night, I would say that it would be that one. Just because Logan Paul, despite all hatred, is incredible.
And he continues to get better. I hate the fact that it's happening, but I saw like one of his promos the other day, and I was like, this was a fine promo. They even gave him the what chance, and he dealt with it better than a lot of these pros were doing.
Absolutely, like Charlotte Flair, who nearly crumpled and died.
He handled everything. He handled everything well. Again, just a little minor tweaks here and there, but he's doing good, man.
Yeah, and I mean, despite the idea of I would say maybe Rey and Dominic Mysterio being put up there as one of the other matches that have had decent build and a very good story. Dominic Mysterio, I hope, wins and gets a lot of heat in the process. But besides that, a lot of weak build. The two women's championship matches, I don't think have been stellar.
Not at all. I don't even think the champions and the challenger even faced each other.
Exactly. The women's and men's four-way tags, nothing there other than to get them onto the show.
Yeah, it's an interesting strategy to get more people on the show since it's a 2-night thing, but it kind of felt a bit rushed as well.
Yeah, but you've got Team Becky and Damage Control. They're kind of weak too. So a lot of weak build, and really, I think we're only... Like, this WrestleMania is very much built on the foundation of the Bloodline story arc, which has been so exceptional that I think we're still going into WrestleMania with a lot of hype.
Yeah.
But on the counter side of that, we're looking at a few weak builds that will ultimately end in fantastic matches, no doubt, because Charlotte and Rhea and all that stuff, they're going to be great.
That's my whole thing with, like, this road to WrestleMania. Like, I haven't been too much of a fan of it. Like, literally, I haven't watched the last 2 Raws because there's just nothing there. Yeah. But you look at the card and you're like, this is gonna be an amazing, like, just for match quality purposes.
Exactly.
The way it's stacking up, it looks like it's gonna be a fantastic card. But for the fans of storylines, you only have like 1 or 2 that are actually going on right now.
Exactly.
So that's kind of disappointing. But once you see the 2 storylines that are present, it's like, okay, I can see why you slacked off a little bit, type of thing.
Exactly. So I mean, I know that this WrestleMania is going to be one of the better ones that we've had in a long old time.
Yeah.
Because other WrestleManias have been pretty good, but especially during our pandemic era WrestleManias, they've all been kind of like, oh, just please be good. Whereas this one, I'm going into it with the knowledge of this is going to pay off. I have quite a lot of faith.
Because you had the pandemic WrestleMania, then the WrestleMania that it was raining.
Delayed.
Delayed for like almost 2 hours. So I feel like this is their, like, you know what, we're back on track.
Yeah.
Nothing's stopping us now.
Yeah.
Unless, something terrible happens, which hopefully nothing does.
Hopefully not. Yes. But let's get into it. Predictions, because what is on the line for your Colossal Tussle Tandem boys? Only a pay-per-view punishment in which one of us, whoever wins, goes away and has a proper think about what will genuinely emotionally hurt the other. Because as best friends, that is what we do here. Yeah. We try to make the other person sad for the enjoyment of ourselves first, and then the public that listen.
I need this one. I don't think I've won one of these predictions. So this is my time.
This is your comeback time.
Yeah.
Well, let's see how you do. Because
get on the board this time.
Notoriously, I am more of an AEW person than I am a WWE person. I don't watch the weekly TV with Raw or SmackDown or anything like that. I only catch highlights. Whereas with AEW, I will tune into an episode or two
the whole,
stay pretty much followed up. WWE sometimes is a mystery, but let's see. Because first and foremost, we have the U.S. title match, which is said to be kicking off WrestleMania.
Okay,
apparently,
that's
number 1, so Saturday. It is John Cena going after the U.S. Championship once again against the man that needs to prove himself, Austin Theory. I will start first with Just John.
I'm going Theory. Theory retains.
Theory retains.
Yeah, like I had this whole thing in my head where like John Cena turns heel and wins the title, but then I'm like, there's no way they're gonna do that now. It's way too late. But there's a little hope in me. Little hope in me.
Never.
But I'm going Theory. Theory for the win.
Theory for the win. I too choose Austin Theory. I believe that will be a great way to start off the Mania. But I mean, when you're starting off Mania, you kind of want a big pop at the beginning of the show. So
heel Cena, man.
I don't know about the heel Cena bit, but Cena wins low, certainly. Seth Rollins versus Logan Paul Areno.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty obvious one. I think Logan Paul wins it.
So you have an obvious Paul win.
Yeah, it's Hollywood. He's the big star. I think they're gonna give him the win.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm kind of on the fence about it. But I do think Logan Paul will get the victory.
Yeah.
Yes. It would be interesting to see how he wins. but I can definitely see his little shit-eating grin when he picks up the sneaky win, and then he goes on to say that he's undefeated at WrestleMania, having only done 2 WrestleManias, but that would be very funny.
Yeah, because I can already see shenanigans. It's Hollywood. He has a bunch of friends. It's definitely going to be some shenanigans.
Absolutely. Team Beckett versus Damage Control. I am a little scared about this one. I do believe that Damage Control will win. However, it is under the circumstances of how they win, because I have a little interesting theory, which I thought was only going to be me.
We might have the exact same theory.
We might.
Gosh, shit.
But we might have the same theory, but it'll be interesting. It was corroborated by somebody online as well. Okay, somebody else has this theory that Damage Control will break up here.
Oh, we have
Damage Control. Yes. We have Io Sky and Dakota Kai. They will walk out on Bayley. They will walk out. But then Bayley will be left all alone. It'll be like, oh no, 1 against 3. And then Trish Stratus turns on her partners.
so we do have the same. Okay.
Turns on her partners. And Bayley will get the win. And it will be Bayley and Trish. It will be Lita and Becky. And it will be the remnants of Damage Control. A 3-way for the tag team titles.
I like that. I hope that happens.
So
because mine was just Trish Stratus turns heel and Damage Control wins. But I like that better. I like your idea better.
And surprisingly, this was corroborated stories. But yeah, other people have this theory, which I did not think about.
That's a good, because what's the next pay-per-view after WrestleMania? It's Backlash. Yeah, I can see that being a backlash thing, or even push it till SummerSlam. I can see that.
They also have a Saudi show in between, so we can get them all dressed up in their tightest onesies and send them on out there.
Probably not, but nice thought.
Defending a women's title.
Yes. So far we're
pretty much even.
We're even.
Pretty much even. So we're gonna have to be getting aggressive here. Okay. Lesnar and Omos.
I got Lesnar. I got Lesnar.
You have Brock Lesnar winning this, eh? I definitely have Brock Lesnar winning this as well. I can't imagine this going any other way other than an F5 to Omos and calling it quits in 3 minutes time. That's what we should do.
3 minutes?
That's what we should do.
No.
Is this sub 5 minutes or over 5 minutes? Extra point.
I'll go over 5 minutes.
You're going over 5 minutes?
I think they'll give him like a good 8 minutes.
Under 5.
Because that way they can be like, oh, look, almost can go long.
Yeah.
I think they'll give him a good 8 minutes.
Okay, well, we know that Lesnar's going to win, but will it be under or over 5 minutes?
I got the over.
Here we go.
Tweet at us. Tell us if it's over 5 minutes or under 5 minutes. Let's see what the Twitterverse says.
Let's go to another championship match. The Raw Women's Championship, in which Bianca Bel-Air takes on Asuka. Who do you have for me and why?
I have Bianca retaining.
You have a retention for Bianca. I have Asuka.
Okay. We finally split on something. Okay, I'm sticking with Bianca.
Interesting.
Yeah, Bianca wins.
I can definitely see how Bianca would win, because this has been a subpar build since she's come back. Unfortunately, she hasn't had a lot of momentum, has Asuka. But she looks like a killer, so let's see what the match does.
Yeah.
Yes, but I believe Asuka. So very interesting. And then SmackDown Women's Championship.
Yeah. And so the reason I say Bianca retains is because I think Rhea wins the title, and they want to make it more a bigger pop, you know? So I think for the SmackDown Women's title, I think Rhea wins it.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, I too have Rhea winning, yes. But I mean, she's supposed to be a heel, though. You know, she's supposed to.
I don't know what's happening.
This big pop you're talking about.
Charlotte's supposed to be the baby face, but they've been booing her like crazy.
They have, because she's not a baby.
Yeah.
She's not a likable person.
And Rhea at least has the whole comedy angle shit with Dom, so I can see Dom getting like kicked in the face or something by Charlotte.
Yeah. Gunther, Sheamus, and Drew McIntyre, another potential show stealer. Another potential weekend stealer, yes, indeed, for the Intercontinental Championship.
I have Gunther retaining. I think they're gonna try to break the whole honky tonk record. Yeah.
You see, because I also believe that Gunther is going to win, but we're agreeing too much.
You want to switch it up?
I might have to be bold.
Go for it.
I think Drew McIntyre might steal it.
Oh my god! You know what? That's fair.
I think Drew McIntyre may steal, and then the possibility of potential Drew heel turnage.
Okay.
Because it can go one of two ways. It's either Sheamus gets jealous and overly jealous and turns heel, or Drew McIntyre steals it from Sheamus, keeps gloating about it. They have a match. Is like, okay, whatever. I'll give you the shot at the title. You want one so bad? Here you go. And then there'll be a heel turn at some point in which Drew McIntyre will be like, "Fuck you," kick you in the dick, retain the belt.
I mean, that's fair. I like it. I like it.
Because if Gunther retains, it's going to be all right. Gunther is just going to break a record for the sake of breaking a record, which is fine because Gunther is great. But story element wise, if we want to keep going with Drew,
you would want that instead,
because if we want to keep going with Drew and Sheamus, might be the way to go. Edge and Finn Balor inside Hell in a Cell. I was discussing this with my brother Greed, about the idea that the Hell in a Cell not being either a co-main event or the main event of WrestleMania Night 1 feels very strange to me.
Listen, Hell in a Cell has lost its appeal for like a couple years now. And it's not even the match's fault. It's just the way they build stories towards that match. Like they don't treat it with like the danger that, like, you know, if you go back to the 90s, like a Hell in a Cell match was like, you hate this person to the point where you don't want no outside interferences. You just want to beat the hell out of this person in the cage. And I think it's just been watered down throughout the years. Like this feud's already like way past its prime. And putting the Hell in a Cell is kind of like their way of being like, look, we can still make this feud exciting. But it's like you're probably gonna be like in the middle of like night 1 or night 2, so it's like, you know,
it just feels weird.
It just
feels weird. Listen, Hell in a Cell.
Listen, they've done everything to make you want to care about this. They're bringing back the Demon Finn Balor. They're putting them in a cage. But most of the people online are just like, I don't care. Like Edge has won every match between these two. Like, what are they fighting over? Even if Finn Balor does win this match, which I think he is gonna win it, it's like, okay, so you're 1-6 against this dude. You know? Interesting.
So you're going with Balor?
I'm going with Balor. I think they're gonna give him the win just to give him the win, but
Edge.
Oh.
Yep.
Ooh.
Edge is gonna kill him one more time.
You're going for the clean sweep. I like it.
Edge is just gonna kill him. Kill him one more time. I mean,
put him out of his misery.
The demon has already lost. The luster has come off the rose. It's been a long time since we've had the demon. I hope in this instance that I'm wrong. And I win overall and lose this point, because I would like to see Finn Balor win and continue that momentum. But I think Edge is going to be the one that pulls it right on off.
All right.
Women tag spectacular.
The showcase.
Indeed. Of which we have Liv Morgan and Raquel, Natty and Shotzi, Green and DeVille. And the only tag team, Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. So who might be winning this one?
even though everything's telling me that it's going to be the obvious pick, I have no idea. This whole women's tag division has been a fucking mess. I'm not sure if they're sticking with Ronda and Shayna or if they're just going to move on. I have Liz and Raquel.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I have
Ronnie and Shani Bells.
All right.
Easy peasy. But what about the next one?
The men's showcase. Hopefully they're on different nights. There's no way they're going to put both of these showcases on the same night.
Pretty sure women are going on first and men are going on
Okay.
We have Braun and Ricochet. We have the Street Profits. We have American Alpha.
Alpha Academy.
Oh, yeah.
What the fuck? American Alpha was him and
I miss that tag team so much. Alpha Academy.
Yeah.
Forgive me. And the Viking Raiders. We have 3 tag teams in this one. 3! And then a ramshackle team. That's amazing.
No, well, technically 4, because didn't Braun and Ricochet compete in that whole thing? So, yeah,
they don't
4.
have a team name. It's 3. They don't have a team name. Who do you have for me?
This match is interesting just because out of the 4, there's 2 teams that you could see a possible, like, heel turn, or not heel turn, just a split, because you have the whole Alpha Academy and Maximum Male Models thing going on. So like you can see Otis kind of splitting from that, but then you also have the Street Profits where they've been hinting at wanting to have Montez go solo for a while now. Yeah. So do they do that at WrestleMania? Do they hold off on it? So those are 2 interesting dynamics in there. But I'm going with Strowman and Ricochet.
You're going?
Yeah, I'm going with the oddball.
Okay, interesting.
They like giving Braun Strowman tag wins at Mania. You know,
that's true. That's true. Yes. I am actually going with a bit of a sleeper option. I'm picking the Viking Raiders in this experience because if I am to be believed in our next predictions that the tag titles will change hands, I'm trying to think of the first maybe minor tag team mini feud or something like that to establish our new champions. And the only real heels of the bunch, if they get a big win over 3 top teams
at WrestleMania, that can put them in a good spot. I can see that. I like that.
Yes,
I like that.
I will be going with the Viking Raiders on this one because in our next match, our emotional, drama-filled base, we have the tag team titles on the line, the undisputed belts, in which Owens and Zayn are trying to take them from the Usos.
Yep. I don't think they're going to advance the story anymore from here, so I'm just going to go with the clear option of Sami and Kevin Owens win.
Absolutely.
It switches
Absolutely.
hands.
Yes.
Yeah, like the Usos already broke every record.
Yeah.
They're good.
Yeah.
And I think they're trying to end the whole bloodline storyline soon, so I think that's
Sami will pin Jay.
Of course. Come on.
Come
on. They can't make it this far and then fumble it at the very end.
It's going to be heartbreaking to watch those two. Like I'm looking forward to it.
I can see like a Shawn Michaels Flair moment where he kind of hesitates and then he's like, I got to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Haluva kick the dick off.
Yeah.
Another emotional one.
Yeah.
Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio.
I'm looking forward to this one.
Who do you have?
I have Dominic Mysterio demasking Rey.
Oh, I think he's taking the mask as well.
He takes the mask. This is it's a Mexican tradition. Once you take the mask off of a wrestler, that's the ultimate sign of disrespect. And Dom's done everything to Rey, except for that. So I think WrestleMania takes the mask off, rolls Rey up, wins. We see Rey without a mask for the first time in years.
Yes, in years.
And hopefully he rides off into the sunset, or maybe they continue it. But I think that's gonna be it. And then Dom just makes his entrance every time with Rey's mask. That in my perfect world, that's how I would book it. I'm not sure how they plan on doing it.
I mean, I love that idea. I would just like to extend that. Because this is the first match in the series, I think.
Yeah.
I think this could go for a lot longer. I think this has got wheels.
You think do you think they can push it to like a SummerSlam?
I mean, maybe not a full SummerSlam, but maybe majority of the spring. I mean, if they can do it.
Yeah,
if they can do it. Because, I mean, we're going to assume maybe that Judgment Day will stay together. Maybe sans Rhea Ripley, but Ripley can be on both shows anyway. Doesn't matter, so the Judgment Day can stay together regardless.
Yeah.
I think Rey Mysterio will pick up the win here.
Okay.
Yes. And then an angry and jealous Dominic Mysterio will just keep going, and he'll keep attacking, and he'll keep egging him on and fighting him, and this time getting more and more physical until finally the mask gets put up for grabs.
Okay.
And maybe it's
make it like an actual mask.
Yeah. Or if it's like I'll leave the Judgment Day, or put the hair on the line in a classic.
He does have the long hair.
In a classic luchador style thing. The mask versus the hair. Very simple. Very traditional.
That's good. That's good.
I think this has got more legs to cap it off than just at WrestleMania. And I think you give Rey the feel-good moment, standing up for the children, standing up for his familia. And then Dominic Mysterio is just like, we're not done yet. We're not done yet.
Honestly, that ending literally depends on who's backstage.
Mm-hmm.
Who's actually, because we know that Vince hates a feel-good moment. So
this is true.
It depends who's backstage, but honestly, I can see them taking this throughout the spring.
I think so.
And pushing a little bit.
I think so. I think it would be a little bit foolish to end it here.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Even though it has gotten the long build, this is the first match between father and son. Who wouldn't want to milk that? I certainly would. And then finally, we have the undisputed title, where we have Roman Reigns defending the undisputed title against Cody Rhodes, the main event. The reason that the SoFi Stadium is probably going to be, if not sold out, then very, very, very fucking close.
Yes. The reason that there hasn't been any storylines in this entire thing, they're putting all their eggs into this match.
I think so. And I think personally they've done a tremendous job, especially when they were having to balance Sami Zayn and Cody. You know, my heart thinks that Sami should probably have been in here. Should probably have been a triple threat.
I feel if they didn't pick up, if Cody didn't become the success that he became, when he moved over to WWE, it would have been a completely different story. Mm-hmm. But the fact that the fans just gravitated towards Cody, you know, he has the entrance, he has the star power.
It does. I think they've done a good job, but a lot of people apparently are not on board. They're not on board, and they think that they think that Rhodes is not the guy, and that Roman should continue his San Martino-like reign, because it's getting to the point where we're getting on the Bob Backlund and Pedro Morales territory. We're getting close to the Hulk Hogan territory. Like, this is a long old reign, but here we have to decide who is it that is going to win and walk out for all of the prediction marbles. I am going with one Cody Rhodes. I've been waiting for it. I look forward to it. I think that it is the way to go. I think if you do it and you pull the trigger, babyface champion, give him very good stories coming out of it, because notoriously we put it on a babyface champion that, you have to conquer this unbeatable heel like a Brock Lesnar, let's say, and it went on to a Seth Rollins, and then Seth Rollins went first to a Baron Corbin.
You try to escape the Baron Corbin void, that vortex of just mid-carders that now get title shots.
Let's not do that to a babyface champion. Let's give him a formidable opponent, and then maybe we'll be looking at it a bit more fondly than having a Kofi Kingston, let's say. beating a juggernaut like Daniel Bryan, and then going directly to Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah. And then getting fed to Brock Lesnar in like a 5-minute match
on Fox News.
Yeah. No, that makes perfect sense. I'm going with Roman though. I'm one of those people. I'm sticking with. I think Usos lose the title. I think they're gonna do their best to make it seem like this might be it for the bloodline, and he's just gonna pull. Something's gonna happen, and he's gonna fucking win the title, and we're gonna keep this train going, baby.
Really?
We're gonna keep it going. I've wanted someone to break one of these records, not the Bruno Sammartino record, because he went on for like 7 years.
Yeah,
there's no way we can ever reach that, like unless there's like 3 more pandemics. But I think like him beating some of the other guys that have like still amazing reigns but shorter, like Hogan and Pedro Morales and shit. I think it's doable. I think there's enough contenders that like you can still push this even to the next Mania if you play your cards right.
Really? Do
I trust WWE to do that? Probably not. But I still think Roman wins it at Mania. Stunned silence. I can hear it now.
I am genuinely.
I can hear it now.
But I mean, I think you're in the majority somehow.
I'm telling you, man. He wins at Mania, then something happens. SummerSlam, him and Cody again, but this time just for one title. And then they slowly take the titles off of him. He loses one at SummerSlam, then he loses the next one to Sammy maybe or Jay or whoever the fuck at whatever the next main pay-per-view is. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then next WrestleMania he either comes in as the underdog or only holding one title.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's all right. All right. So we have bonus questions.
Yes.
Bonus points can be earned here. So if you completely tank your predictions on one show, you might be able to redeem ourselves with the first bonus. Are there any sort of faces and heel turns? If so, who? You have to get this one right, otherwise 0 points earned.
I'm going with Trish. Trish turning heel.
Yes, yeah. I also.
Yeah,
Trish with the heel turn. Any returns or debuts, and if so, who?
That's a doozy.
I will go first.
Go for it.
While you think about it, because I have one.
I have 2, but
it's a mini return, but we have The Miz that is going to be guest hosting, apparently. Yes. And so I believe that we're going to get a bit of a Stone Cold Steve Austin return.
That's cool. Yeah, I can see that. They've been teasing something with Stone Cold for a while now. So that's fair.
And I suspect that is going to be the person that shows up. I mean, among others, but if I have to put a stamp, guaranteed one person that will do some kind of physical interaction.
I got mine.
Austin with The Miz.
I got mine.
Who do you have, sir?
Jake Paul.
Jake Paul!
He comes down, helps his brother. Boom, boom, boom.
So you think a debut for Mr. Paul?
I think that's what's happening. He's going to come down. When Seth Rollins beating his brother, punch him, boom, boom.
Okay,
we win.
Very interesting.
I like that. Yeah, I'm going with Jake Paul. You know what? Lock that one in. Stamp it. Okay. I'm going with Jake Paul.
And finally, how many titles change hands?
Oh shit! You go first. Hold on.
I have 4 titles changing hands. I believe only 2 people will retain, and that being I don't have that anymore. I have 3 because I've changed my IC title pick.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I believe that the only person then retaining is Austin Theory.
I have two changing hands.
Austin Theory, yeah. Asuka will win. Rhea will win. I now have Drew winning because of my thought process, which I hold merit. I hold merit to that idea. And then we have Owens and Zayn for the tag titles and Rhodes for the undisputed. So I think, yeah. So
you got a lot of I only have two. I have the tag titles switching hands, and I have the SmackDown Women's title switching hands.
I have 5 titles changing hands.
I just have 2.
Excuse me. I have 5 titles changing hands. That is a lot. You have 2. And who are your 2? Sorry?
Tag titles.
Tag titles?
And SmackDown
Women's. Yeah. I have a big plate. And that's just to get 1 point. I have to get 5 titles for 1 point. And then, of course, we have our little side one of under or over 5 minutes for Brock Lesnar.
I want over.
We have the potential for a lot of points here. So one person can walk away with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 points are up for grabs.
I'm hoping that bonus round helps me a little because I don't think my predictions, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure about them.
See, 17 points up for grabs this weekend. We'll be following it right along. So let's see. And then, of course, what we all came here for, the predictions are exciting and all, but we got to get back into our DeLorean.
Yes, sir.
Because we came here for a purpose. We came here for a reason, and that is for the Fall Brawl. The War Games.
It's War Games.
It's War Games.
It's War Games.
And so here we go. 1997 presents Fall Brawl in North Carolina. We're in Flair country,
Flair
baby.
Country, man.
Let's see what happens.
Your livelihood if there's someone standing next to you with a tear in their eye. You're a lucky man because, buddy, at the end of this road, if there's one person in the world you can say is your friend, that is for life.
I'm going to give you the only thing I got left. I'll give you my spot.
I want the big man. Do you accept it? My spot. I want Conan. Remember me how I look right now. I want Bagwell. It would be an honor. And I want Six. Woo! I'm taking the 4 horsemen. Come on, 4-9. And I'm taking the NWO.
The most pathetic display of all.
And I'm putting them in.
From Winston-Salem, North Carolina, it's time for the numbers.
Oh my god.
Indeed it is. It's time for the mother fudging numbers. All right?
Let's do it. Run it down, buddy. Let's get it.
The Shockmaster with all the details is up and ready to go because in September 14th, 1997, from the Memorial Coliseum in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, we have Fall Brawl 1997. Now this is interesting. This is very interesting that I want to talk about because I want to discuss the buys first.
Okay.
And it's going to be a good thing to look back on, especially when we get to the end and our main event.
Okay.
And because I did a lot of research and a lot of digging. I reread a chapter in the book, The Death of WCW, discussing this pay-per-view because this is low-key a very significant pay-per-view for WCW.
Okay.
For a multitude of different reasons that we will discuss. The pay-per-view buys for this show is 148,000 pay-per-view buys. This is a 2-part interesting thing. Road Wild received significantly higher buy rates than this. They were in the 300,000 plus, as we've discussed.
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, so we're halved in terms of the pay-per-view buy rates. We are also below last year's. Now, keep in mind, every pay-per-view that we have discussed has outperformed the previous year. Every single one, except for this one. 165,000 pay-per-view buys.
Okay.
Very interesting. Not only that, the attendance, 11,939. Now, this is sold out, which is great, but it's only sold out by 600 extra people. Because in the same venue last year, 11,300 people. Packing them in.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Very interesting. In both cases, now, we have to consider the fact that this is North Carolina. This is Flair country. This is horseman country in the major storyline as they were last year. And yet, the buy rate halved from the previous month and lower this year.
Do you think it's more of a, how do you say, like an exhaustion factor with the fans? Because if you look at this card, it's similar to almost every pay-per-view card we've had this year. It's on like, we'll switch this guy out for this guy. Yeah. But it's basically been the same or similar type of card. Even on the card, there's DDP and Luger versus
Savage and Hall,
which we've seen 3 times already. So do you think that it's a point like, are fans just like, okay, we've seen this, we don't have to rush to see it again, or do you think there's another factor playing into it?
I don't know. It's very interesting. That is a very good point. Perhaps as we get into the show and all of the things that have been happening leading up to this show, I think might have a lot to do with it as well. And also, too, I think that we are doing more of a significant build to Halloween Havoc and also Starrcade. So I think that maybe this show is falling under the radar because we're trying to focus on the other 2 big shows coming at the end of the year. Very possible as well. So we will see as we get into it. The live gate to $113,330, which is up from last year. So at least they got that for them.
They got their merch.
And it is time for the ratings war.
Yes.
What would you rather, Just John? Now, we are back in true form because last month we only had 1 to choose from. In this case, we have a ton to choose from. Starting with August 11th. This is going to be very difficult for you, I think.
Okay.
These choices are going to be very difficult for you. Raw scores a 2.95 rating in the main event. Shawn Michaels takes on Mankind, in which this is one of Shawn Michaels' first matches back after being gone for many, many months with his issues with Bret Hart and all of that stuff and his knee trouble. This is also leading up to the or it's just slightly after SummerSlam. Could be either one. But this features the beginnings and the seeds of D-Generation X because Triple H helps out Shawn Michaels in this match.
Okay.
Yes. And then on the other side, we have Monday Nitro scoring a 3.8 in which the Macho Man takes on Kurt Hennig. The result for said match is a DQ victory for Kurt Hennig. What would you rather?
I'll go with the birth of DX. That's
very interesting. Very interesting.
Only WCW, I swear to God.
Next week, August the 18th, Raw scores a 3.13 as The Undertaker and Mankind take on Shawn Michaels and Triple H.
Oh, shit.
Meanwhile, Nitro scores a 4.03 as Diamond Dallas Page and Lex Luger take on The Outsiders. I will withhold the match result until you decide which one you would rather.
I'll go with WWE again.
Again?
Yeah.
That is 2-0.
Yeah.
The month of August. It was a DQ victory for Diamond Dallas Page and Lex Luger.
Oh my God.
Starting to see some cracks in the armor. For the next 2 weeks, Raw is preempted by the Westminster Dog Show. So, yes. So I will tell you
what was going on in that. Why is the Dog Show just kicking everyone's ass in the 90s, man?
Dog Show is a big deal.
Holy
it's a
shit!
Big deal. However, and this very much pains me to say this, but on August the 25th. I will tell you first what Raw scored on the Friday, just because it's ridiculous. It's Friday Night Raw. They score a 1.6.
Oh, shit.
Meanwhile, Nitro overall scores a 4.97, in which
just blew him out the fucking water.
In which Lex Luger takes on the Macho Man in the main event. That ends in a no contest. However, this Nitro sets another cable record. In the middle of the show, overall, of course, yes, but in the middle of the show, there is a U.S. Championship match. Excuse me, it's not a U.S. Championship match, but it is a match in which is looked at by 3.5 million homes. And an additional overall 4.15 million tuned in to see the match of Eddie Guerrero versus Steve Mongo McMichael.
My guy is a draw. My guy is a draw, I'm telling you. They lined up to see Mongo, man. Come on. All those pay-per-view fucking co-main events weren't for nothing.
Yeah, Mongo is a proven commodity, apparently.
Needle mover.
On September the 1st, Raw is once again preempted. Once again has to air on Friday. And
because of the Dog Show again? What the fuck?
And once again, scores a 1.6.
Oh, shit.
Meanwhile, Monday Nitro scores a 4.73, in which Scott Hall and Randy Savage take on Diamond Dallas Page and Lex Luger. You heard me right. The match that is going to be taking place at the pay-per-view was given away on free television, where Scott Hall and Randy Savage pick up the win.
By
shenanigans. Finally, back to full form and your final choice on the road to Fall Brawl. Raw scores a 2.54 rating as Triple H takes on Savio Vega, taking on the Patriots.
Okay.
Meanwhile,
that's a weird triple threat match.
Nitro scores a 3.81, in which Lex Luger takes on Diamond Dallas Page.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
The team members, they must fight
friction.
it out.
Yeah, they had some friction. Okay. I'll go WCW.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
That ended in a no contest.
Ended in a goddamn no contest. Oh my God. Something told me I was gonna end in a no contest. So out of 5 shows leading up to their big pay-per-view, 4 of them ended in no contest.
Yeah, no contest or inconclusive finishes, DQs.
And the one that did end in a pinfall was shenanigans. How did this company fail? I don't see any cracks.
Meanwhile, Roddy Piper becomes the interim commissioner on Monday Nitro and books the War Games cage match that is featured tonight. And the reason for this, of course, is because we have, during the lead up to this show, Arn Anderson, who had suffered a career-ending injury, was forced to retire and had a very emotional retirement speech about his inability to wrestle again, about his alcoholism, touching on it, and things of that nature. This is a very famous scene.
Yeah, and then
the next week,
most disrespectful promo.
Indeed. Where Kevin Nash dressed in a fat suit holding a cooler of beers, and everybody dressed as the Four Horsemen, and there was tears and all of this such and such.
Question for you. Could they do this angle in 2023?
No, they could not.
I had to go back and watch it. I'm like, there's no way some shit like this flies now.
No.
Oh my god.
Especially because there's no comeuppance on the show.
Yeah.
Like, as it happens, they do this angle where they just shit on the Horsemen for a solid 10 minutes, making fun of this man and bringing up very real issues.
Yeah.
And none of the Horsemen storm the ring and chase them out or anything. This is just heat for the sake of heat.
Yeah.
To build up to this show. So it's quite ridiculous. So not only does Roddy Piper become commissioner and book the War Games, he has also got his eye on the reason that we're doing this whole season. He wants Hogan. He wants him in a cage.
Yeah.
And that will be coming at Halloween Havoc 1997. The NWO B team will be going up against the Four Horsemen tonight.
Yeah.
With the exception of Kevin Nash, we have such luminaries of the NWO as Conan, Buff Bagwell, and Six.
Yeah. They brought out the heavy hitters. They brought out the heavy hitters for this,
yes, indeed.
for this main event.
And also, a side note, a lot of admin before we get into the show. A lot has happened. Because we also had a Clash at the Champions. The final Clash at the Champions, as a matter of fact, on August the 21st. From Nashville, Tennessee, in which 6,500 people came for a $75,089 live gate and a 3.64 rating with $37,000 in merch sales. I've got the numbers. This also features the Sting Crow main event segment. Have you seen this?
Not recently.
All right. So at the end of the show, which features a tag match in which Scott Hall and I believe Randy Savage take on Diamond Dallas or Lex Luger and somebody else that's substituted for Diamond Dallas Page. But that's not really important. The NWO stands tall, of course. And then in the rafters, Sting is holding a crow on his shoulder.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
And he sends it down to the ring.
I remember this.
And for a solid minute and a half, I don't know if anybody's counted to a minute and a half and just did nothing before. It's an eternity. For a solid minute and a half, the NWO looks on in fright as a crow just sits on the top rope. And that's how we end the last Clash of Champions ever. And to think this was a pillar of WCW television, and that is the last image that we ever had of it.
Is a bunch of grown men being scared of a crow.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
Mike Tenay, Tony Schiavone, and Bobby the Brain Heenan are on the desk tonight. No Dusty Rhodes, which was terrible. I thought that we weren't going to get as many comedy goofs.
We got.
I was mistaken.
No, we got some good ones. We got some good ones,
yes.
Especially in that main event. There was some good ones.
As we introduce the first match, the opener. A WCW Cruiserweight title match in which Eddie Guerrero takes on the new champion, month-long, Chris Jericho. I had to do some digging because I couldn't tell. I watched the Nitros leading up to this, and I was like, why does Chris Jericho have the title all of a sudden? It happened on WCW Saturday night, in which Chris Jericho picked up the win over Alex Wright, which broke my heart.
Yeah.
Because as we know from last session,
you love Alex Wright.
Alex Wright was my guy. But yes, August the 16th, he lost the title. So now here we are, 1 month later. Eddie Guerrero challenging for the belt. He's got a new attitude.
Yeah, he's full-blown heel now, going up against babyface Y2J.
Yes.
And we start off the night with these two absolute legends of the sport, in Chris Jericho and Eddie. They start with a quick collar and elbow tie-up, but Jericho manages to land a arm drag, and as soon as he lands the arm drag, Eddie gets right up and goes straight to the ref, and he's like, hey, pulling my hair.
Pull my hair. Yep.
Which I just found hilarious. It's like, that was an arm drag. There was no hair involved here.
Yeah, they pull the hair.
They go hold for hold, and after Jericho gets the best of him, Eddie again goes up to the ref and tells him that Jericho is grabbing his hair. But it's all tactics to slow down the pace of the match. And Jericho is in full control early, working the arm of Eddie, keeping him in a submission hold, keeping him grounded, and taking away his aerial moveset.
That's right.
And for most of this match, for some odd reason, the crowd just doesn't seem to be in it as much.
Hit and miss. They are a hit and miss crowd tonight, because there are some moments in the show where they are absolutely electric.
Yeah, because
on fire.
This was a fantastic pay-per-view from the first match to the last. But for some reason, there's just a couple matches that they were just like, I gotta save my energy first of all. Yeah. So yeah, the crowd was whatever, but it's still a good match. Eddie
Guerrero. Absolutely.
Eddie finally manages to fight out of the submissions, but Jericho manages to drop him on the top rope and then hit a lion saw for the pin, but Eddie kicks out at 2, and Jericho again puts Eddie in a submission hold, working the arm. Eddie finally starts getting some offense in, trying to change the momentum of the match. Eddie puts Jericho in a chin lock backbreaker type combo.
Yes.
Eddie then hits Jericho with a slingshot headbutt and a pin attempt, but Jericho kicks out. Eddie then puts him in a upside down like backbreaker type of thing.
Yes, the gory special.
Yes. And according to Mike Tenay, that like his dad used to do that move.
That is correct.
You know,
invented it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go with whatever Mike Tenay says because he's the guy.
He's the guy.
Jericho though manages to reverse it, and now Eddie's the one in the gory special.
It's Gory Guerrero.
But Eddie manages to get his arms free and lift himself back up, and it looks like he's about to hit a hurricane on Jericho, but Jericho just slams him face first. Eddie then grabs Jericho and is about to start walking the ropes, but before he can do anything, Jericho trips him and he goes balls first into the top rope.
Absolutely. Something that happens many times throughout the show.
They love that spot.
Yeah, the balls are in jeopardy at Fall Brawl.
Jericho hits him with a drop kick. On the apron, Jericho picks Eddie up, and as if he's going to hit a power bomb, but instead he drops Eddie on the top ropes, like he drops him backwards on the top rope.
Gives him a stun gun.
Yeah,
another thing that happens many times throughout this show.
After some back and forth, Jericho hits Eddie with a spinning leg lariat. Jericho tries hitting Eddie tries hitting Jericho with a superplex but misses, giving Eddie enough time to hit Jericho with the frog splash for the win.
There you go, and we have ourselves a new cruiserweight champion.
Brand new champion,
Eddie Guerrero.
Yep.
Eddie Guerrero.
Which is cool because when we first started doing the reviews of the WCW, I remember telling you that it was kind of weird seeing Eddie like lose so much because you only remember Eddie as like this amazing performer, and I feel like now we're getting into that time period where he's just going gangbusters.
Indeed. We're going to be ending prematurely on Eddie Guerrero's run because he becomes even more of a significant player in 1998, at least for the early part of it. But yeah, we are ending off maybe prematurely, but we are also ending off on an absolute classic because next month is For the Mask, for the title, It is Rey Mysterio versus Eddie Guerrero, Halloween Havoc.
Yep.
So we are ending with a bang in terms of the cruiserweight division, which kind of comes full circle because, make no mistake about it, they have been the highlight, the cruiserweight division of WCW in our entire run of 1997.
And I think one of the first, like, I don't want to say the first one, but I think like one of the first couple matches that we reviewed of the WCW run was Rey and Eddie.
Yes.
But that was when they were both lower on the card.
Indeed. We are back at the internet area where Jeff Jarrett is being interviewed about Dean Malenko and the match that they're going to have later. I have nothing more to say about that. Match number 2. The Steiner Brothers taking on Harlem Heat. Larry Zbyszko ends up joining us on the commentary desk for this tag team attraction. The Steiner Brothers, Harlem Heat, both of these teams are kind of now been left in the dust. They have no titles to challenge for. They have nothing of any significance to do. We put them together and we sprinkle a little bit of tag team action on them.
Oh my God. Yeah, because I think the Outsiders been doing this whole thing where like they don't tag with each other just so they don't have to defend the title. So the whole tag division is just in limbo at this point.
Yes, very much so. So it is Scott Steiner and Stevie Ray that begins. It's a clean break at the beginning off the collar and elbow tie-up. Stevie Ray, who delivers the punches in bunches, but Scott Steiner is able to deliver a hip toss right out the corner, go for an Irish whip, but then catches a gnarly big boot by Stevie Ray, like right under the chin.
Yeah.
It was gross. A belly-to-belly suplex. Scott Steiner just fights it right off, fighting right back. Ray powders outside of the ring and then brings in the Booker Man. They go back and forth for a little bit until Booker T locks in the full Nelson, but you can't do that on the massive arms and the biceps of one Scotty Steiner, who's easily able to break out. But Booker is able to land himself a suplex. Top rope, Booker T goes for a flying nothing. He gets caught in the belly-to-belly and gets hoofed right over. And then it's a massive press slam. Rick Steiner gets into the ring. Both men clean house, and the crowd is lightning hot. They are doing the
dog, what's his name? Dog-faced gremlin.
Dog-faced gremlin. As the Harlem Heat powder out. Back into the ring now, it is Rick Steiner and Booker T. They start to do a bit of tag team beatings, but Rick Steiner, he's taunting, and Bobby the Brain Heenan goes, there ain't nothing going on in there, and it wouldn't even help if it did. Harlem Heat is able to isolate Rick Steiner, but then out of nowhere, he's able to catch Booker T into a powerbomb. Yes, Scott Steiner is in, but a cheap shot and then a super kick once again under the chin, killing Scott Steiner over the top rope.
To break his jaw.
Absolutely. Over the top rope into the floor. Jackie looks like she's going to take a shot, but Scott Steiner is like, I ain't going to have any bitch hit me. His words, not mine.
Yeah, because it was so weird because she was literally getting ready and everything, and then they just like,
nope. Scott Steiner is like, absolutely not. But outside, Scott Steiner gets beaten down for a bit. The Harlem Heat working over Scotty for a while. Scotty is able to catch a spinning sidekick into a powerbomb. Booker T is getting his ass beat, especially with these high impact moves, and I freaking love it. Every time Scott Steiner or Rick Steiner have a comeback, it's always catching them and doing a power move. It's lovely. Rick Steiner hot tag, he clotheslines and slams all over the place over and over again. A top rope bulldog to Stevie Ray, but Booker T is the legal man, as a matter of fact. And then, after a little bit, they get a double team drop kick in which he's put up Legion of Doom style, and Booker T lands a missile drop kick. But Rick Steiner is able to kick out. Shortly thereafter, Scott Steiner and Rick Steiner are doing some tag team offense, a massive lariat into the German suplex for the win. This match was awesome.
Listen, I've been very vocal about how I haven't been sold on the tag division.
I was gonna say, like, these men, it feels like these men came out with something to prove.
Yeah.
Like they had a chip on their shoulder or something where it's like, okay, we're gonna prove to you why we're the best goddamn tag teams in the company.
Yeah, there was usually we see, especially in WCW and this year, we usually see a lot of rest holds, a lot of submission holds. There was none of that here. It was just, I'm going to try to break you in half.
These folks just gelled. Like, I was really dreading going into this match. I was like, oh, man, Steiner's and Harlem Heat, like, both of them have under-delivered this year. Last month at Road Wild, we saw the Steiners just, like, lose in this really underwhelming match. And over again, like, these teams have fallen short to the bigger stars.
No.
But this match here.
That's the one thing about this pay-per-view. The two matches where I thought were going to be the downside of the pay-per-view were actually not that bad, and this was one of them. We're going to get to the other one a little later.
Indeed. As the World Television title is on the line, it is Alex Wright taking on Ultimo Dragon. Alex Wright, who is now the television champion.
I know what you guys might be saying. Well, didn't you guys say he just lost the Cruiserweight title? Yes.
He did indeed.
Then he went.
And then he picked up the television title.
He just went and won the next title.
Yes. And my technical liaison, I would like for us to play the Alex Wright music.
Oh my God. I got you.
For just a moment here.
I got you.
It's genuinely a delight to see him come out.
And one of the best things, though, is that now when you look at the crowd, people are getting with it. People are doing the dance with him.
People are doing the dance with him, and it's wonderful.
There's a whole section of just bros at the top that just started dancing with him. I'm like, I love it.
The whole swing. It's amazing. I love the work of Alex Wright. I love the work of Alex Wright recently. He has been such a bright spot, like such a dark horse, that I had no idea was this good.
Before, I keep saying this is the same story. Before we started this pay-per-view, I had no clue who the fuck Alex Wright was. I've never heard of his name before.
Yes.
Never heard of his name before.
Honestly.
And then, like, just seeing him just get so much attention so quickly.
Yeah.
I'm literally just like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah. And in a matter of a couple of weeks,
because I remember
gone from one title to another.
Yeah, because I remember when he first came out, it was more booze than anything else, and now all of a sudden people are dancing with him, and he's actually getting over.
Yes, I lit up when I saw that it was the Dragon versus Alex Wright. I was like, this is going to be something. Quick work by the Dragon to start, catching Alex running and off guard. Alex is able to try and work the arm, but Dragon flips out and reverses. Alex does it himself, but he has to use the mask in order to take the Dragon down. Classic heel work. Massive chop to Alex Wright that just lights up the crowd. Many kicks chopping down Alex Wright, the tall, lanky German sensation, says Mike Tenay. A kick that sends Alex to the outside, and then Alex is able to hang him up on the ropes in order to re-enter. And then, of course, we need some time to do the dancing.
Yeah, of course. Come on.
The dancing, yes.
5-minute dance break, man.
Absolutely. And then a facebuster-like move by Alex Wright, just like DDP does, that pile driver into the faceplant. Alex is now just wearing down the Dragon with chin lock after chin lock after chin lock. And this is the story of the bulk of the middle match, is that whenever the Dragon starts to get a comeback, like, for example, at one point, a very hard kick to the back of Alex Wright. Wright is able to move and then move out of the way of a spinning heel kick right to the rear chin lock.
And that's one thing that I liked about this match, because usually the chin lock or any submission hold like that, we know it's just so the wrestlers can rest and take a deep breath. But they did it in a way where it's like it made sense.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm bigger than this guy, stronger than this guy. Anytime he gets any little bit of momentum, I'm just gonna lock him in. I'm just gonna lock him down, wear him down, and get my offense going again. So I like it when you do it like that.
And I think Alex Wright he has like the perfect combination of style to match with these high-flying people. It makes the matches so interesting. It's why I love Dean Malenko so much in matches with like Rey Mysterio, especially in the early 1996. Like I think Rey Mysterio's first match at Bash at the Beach 96 is with Dean Malenko, and it is a fantastic technical match that just wears down the high flyer, and the high flyer is trying to get the hope spots and the momentum going with these high flyers, and Alex Wright, like right there, kitchen sink knee, right to the gut of the dragon, and then right back into the rear chin lock, and it's fantastic. The only downside here is that after a top rope superplex attempt, Ultimo Dragon is able to shove him off, but he catches the feet from the flying nothing, gets locked into another chin lock, and the crowd start to die a death. Like they start to get painfully quiet, and that's the downside of doing this style for such an extended period of time. I think if you shaved 5 minutes off of this match, it would have been much better, because they get into the sequences where Dragon is able to send Alex to the outside, the springboard acai moonsault gets him back into the ring. They're doing the roll-ups, the counters upon counters, and they're picking up the pace, Irish whip hither and yon, crotched from a drop kick. Every time Ultimo Dragon comes for a top rope maneuver, he gets caught with the flying bullshit. Flying crossbody over the top rope to the floor by Alex Wright, but they've lost the crowd by this point. They're not lit up. They're not fans of what they're seeing anymore because of all of this ground moving.
Especially coming off of the earlier match, right? They're already like they've already seen some cool shit. Like they wanted that to keep going. I feel like you put this match on first. I feel like it might have been different.
Maybe,
like again, like you said, you cut 5 minutes off. You move this match to the first match. I think it's a completely different reaction.
I would say so. Yes, a tiger suplex by the Dragon only gets a 2 count. Up top now, Dragon trying to go for the Hurricane Rana, but Wright ends up with a running powerbomb. But Wright is able to kick out. A moonsault, another kick out. Roll up by Alex into a near fall. Alex gets the knees up on Dragon coming off the top rope. Up again, this time the Hurricane Rana is able to pay off. Goes for the Dragon Sleeper, but Alex with those long, lanky legs gets the ropes. He tries again, but ends up in a jawbreaker, then a German suplex. Alex Wright retains. Even though the crowd wasn't thoroughly into this match, I certainly was.
This was a fun match.
I thought that it was very fun. And yeah, Alex Wright continuing the momentum build. I love it. I fucking love it. I can't remember if he's at Halloween Havoc. I've actually forgotten most of Halloween Havoc 97, so I'm very excited to look into it. I hope that he's on the show. I hope that he's still television champion. I hope that we are still defending it. It is not just a Prince Iakea reign where
oh my God.
defends it once and never sees him again.
Oh, that's true. We haven't actually seen him since the last review.
Exactly. Yes.
Holy shit.
Backstage with Mean, by God, Gene.
Yes.
In which he is plugging something.
Listen, why he's back there isn't important. The important part is that
the NWOB team.
Yeah, they
storming the locker room.
Pass by him. They come back out and they're all smiling and
it's all a giggle.
And Mean Gene's like, why are you guys so excited?
You're cutting into my payroll.
He goes to check what has them all smiling, and it's then we go to see Kurt Hennig, who's laid out on the floor.
Laid out
after being attacked.
Yes, casually shaking the arm as if he's like, oh, I'm real sore. And Mean Gene is selling this like death. He's like, good God, somebody get
He's on the ground like, ow, that hurts.
So terrible. So terrible. Match number 4, in which JFF, JARRETT takes on the man who deserves better than this, Dean Malenko. This is a number 1 contenders match for the U.S. title, in which, who's holding it but Steve Mongo McMichael, who won this on a Nitro back in August.
And not only is this a number 1 contenders match, but this is also stemming from our last pay-per-view that we reviewed, Rolled Wild, where Jeff Jarrett left Dean Malenko to face off against
Mongo and Benoit. Yes,
by himself. So it's a number 1 contenders match, but it's also sort of a grudge match as well.
And I have thoroughly had it up to here with Jeff Jarrett. I refuse to commentate any further on his matchups, and I left this match fuming. I was furious. I had to stop watching this show. I had to come back the next day because this was a goddamn show ruiner for me. So, Just John, with that information in mind, I'm sure that I have spoiled this match considerably for our listeners, but take us through.
I got you. All right. So at the beginning of the match, Jarrett sends Deborah to the back. And the match is really slow paced to begin, as all Jeff Jarrett matches are.
I cannot express enough to you my disdain for Jeff Jarrett matches in the year 1997.
A lot of time wasting on Jarrett's part. You know, he's strutting his stuff.
Oh.
He's complaining to the ref, and I've seen a lot of people when reviewing this show. I like to go on the internet and just see what everyone else says about it. Just get a glimpse of what people were thinking about back in the days. And I saw a lot of people comparing it to Eddie, but you can't compare it.
God,
yeah, you can't compare. It's not the same thing.
It's not the same.
Because
it's not the same.
Because this wasn't him being strategic about it. He was just being an asshole.
Yeah.
And just being like, oh, he's pulling my hair. And he did it like 4 fucking times. And it was like, all right, man, we know what you're doing.
It's stalling for time.
Exactly.
Like, they've given him 15, 16 minutes because that's what Dean Malenko can do. In a heartbeat.
And the thing...
But Jeff doesn't want to do that.
The thing with Eddie, too, is that Eddie would be like, okay, he's pulling my hair, and then give you like 5 minutes of the greatest shit you've ever seen, then be like, oh, he's pulling my hair. So it's different than being like, he's pulling my hair, then just stalling for another 5 minutes, then doing an arm drag, and be like, he's pulling my hair again, and being like, all right, fam, like, what are we doing?
You are just elongating the process because you don't want to do all of the shit. He's a lazy wrestler. He's lazy.
I'll give it to you in the 90s. In the 90s, I'll give it to you.
He's lazy now. He's just old.
So yeah, a lot of complaining to the ref, a lot of rest holds. I think they do a collar and elbow tie up like in the middle of the match, which was fucking insane. Doing a collar and elbow tie up in the middle of your match is wild as shit.
Oh my god.
Nearing the end of the match is when it starts picking up. Dean puts Jeff in a clover leaf, but Jeff reaches the ropes. Deborah makes her way out to the ring again because, of course, it's fucking Deborah.
Yep.
Deborah is comforting Jeff when Dean hits a baseball slide to the outside.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff gets the upper hand on Dean and starts attacking the leg. He hits a chop block on Dean, puts him in the figure 4 for the win, and now he is the number 1 contender for the U.S. title.
Dean Malenko loses clean as a fucking whistle.
And
he taps out.
When Deborah came down to the ring, I'm like, okay, Jeff wins shenanigans, but Jeff did not win shenanigans. Nope. Jeff won clean. Clean. With the figure 4.
Offensive booking.
But
Offensive.
but remember what I always tell you. Every show reviewed from WCW, it has a great opening couple matches. Then there's that one dud in the middle.
Absolutely. But
it
those
always happens.
Those are normally boring. This was infuriating.
That's fair. Oh shit. Oh yeah. I think they got 15 minutes to do this shit.
Yeah.
They got a lot of time. I think they got 15 minutes to do this.
For about 5 minutes worth of action.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, backstage, the NWO has a promo which is a hot mess. It is a fucking mess.
Is that the one Nash is crying?
Yes,
and shit? Yeah,
Nash is crying. Six, again, always. The thing about Six and X-Pac, whenever he cut a promo, he never cut a promo to the camera. He was always talking to someone.
Yeah.
So you can barely hear him because the microphones don't pick it up.
Yeah.
Like, there are so many times where Nash is just like, oh yeah, and we're going to be doing this, baby. And tonight is going to be our night. And then Six is just like, did anybody tell him that we're going to be there? Did anybody tell him that we're going to, because we're going to be there? You know, I hate Ric Flair. And then Nash is like, yeah, but you know one thing, guys, is that we're putting the horsemen down for good. Yeah, I'm going to be beating up Ric Flair. I know that for sure.
Most of like the NWO backstage and promos, it's like they all just go in there and they're like, just say whatever.
Yeah.
Just talk.
Just fill time.
Just have a conversation. Each of you come in with your own promo.
Yeah.
Okay? You guys don't even have to be talking about the same guy. Just fucking go for it.
Honestly. John, my Spanish expert.
Okay.
I'm
worried.
My Espanol compadre.
Oh no.
What does Viva la Raza mean? Because last month we tried to determine whether or not Conan was Raza.
Yeah. Well, he's not. Or is he? I'm not.
Depends.
Okay.
But what does Viva la Raza mean? Because we found out the Raza means family.
Yeah.
So
it's like long live family, like long live our race, or like in this case the Mexican race.
Oh.
Or like our Mexican family.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because he says that apropos of nothing. Does Conan. Viva la Raza, like nothing. There's nothing Spanish about it.
That was
the NWO is not familia. They're just for life. You know? They're not family. They're not Raza. As far as I know. Like, I would never consider Buff Bagwell as Raza.
No, Buff Bagwell's not. He's the far opposite of Raza.
But nevertheless, Viva la Raza. It's interesting.
Holy shit. Yeah, because Conan's doing his own, like, he's in NWO, but he's doing his own thing. He's on this crusade to tell people what Raza is and is not Raza.
Yeah.
And he's still doing that to this fucking day. He just won't
still
shut
to
up.
This day.
He just won't shut up.
Match number 5. I had 2 choices.
Yeah.
I could either swallow the blue or the red pill. I could either have the Jeff Jarrett match, or I could have Wrath and Mortis versus the Faces of Fear. And the only thing that set it apart was, well, at least Glacier isn't here.
Is this a judgment-free zone?
Is it a judgment-free zone?
Yes.
I mean, you know me, John. Judgment is incoming. But let's hear what you're going to say here.
I love this match.
You love it?
I love this match.
You loved this match?
This match is great.
Huh.
This match is great. I know the Mortis and Wrath, I know a lot of the viewers, they're going to be like, wait, but aren't you guys been shitting on them for a while? This match was actually really good. I like it.
Well, you know, to be fair, I have shit on Glacier. Mortis and Wrath.
You did give Wrath his props when we first started.
They're a byproduct of terribleness. But Glacier is the real core of my issue.
That's true.
So Glacier isn't here.
Also, since we're on the topic of Glacier, the new WWE game came out, and I was on the community creation tabs of
Somebody
it.
created Glacier.
Someone made Glacier. I don't know why. We need to interview that person. If you're out there and you're listening, contact us. We need to know why you made Glacier.
People like Glacier.
No, they don't.
I don't know why. So, as the Faces of Fear come out, Larry Zbyszko says on commentary about the Faces of Fear, well-behaved is just a gorilla that's well-shaved. What the fuck does that mean?
Well-behaved is just a gorilla?
Yeah. Just a gorilla that's well-shaved. And Tony Schiavone, all he can say is just like, okay.
I'm trying to see where he's trying to get, but I'm lost.
Yeah. So Mortis and the Barbarian are the ones to start us off, with Mortis getting some strikes.
Who says
in.
we need Dusty?
Who needs to, when we've got legendary commentary such as this? Corner to corner, Barbarian using the power and pounding him down to the mat. A dirty clothesline to Mortis, and then a tag to the Ming. The Ming is getting in here and immediately misses a splash in the corner. And then it's a tag to the big man Wrath, a second rope clothesline by Wrath that's able to knock down the Ming. As expected, this match is already fucking boring to me.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. Okay, I'll let you finish.
A backdrop into a deadlift powerbomb by Barbarian and Ming to Mortis. That was good.
There we go.
Then we have the double hammer in the corner, just clubbing blows to the Mortis. Everybody's going to be just from now on. Everybody's going to be the Wrath, the Mortis, the Barb, and the Ming. The Vandenberg crotches Barbarian on the top rope. Mortis is up to the top but gets thrown off anyways. Massive boot by Wrath. A double team powerbomb neckbreaker by Wrath and Mortis. Ming is able to break it up. Wrath works over Barbarian. The second rope elbow drop. Only gets a near fall. Working the Barbarian on the outside with the steel steps does Mortis. He kicks out when he is back in the ring. And then it's an assisted superplex by Wrath and Mortis. This match is starting to pick up now.
See, there you go.
Interesting moves are happening here. And then the Ming gets the hot tag. Massive chop to the Mortis. Turns him inside out. Power slam to the Wrath. Top rope splash by the Ming. Only gets a near fall. All the men are in right now. Ming takes the James Vandenberg and gets him into the Tongan death grip. The Mortis tries to intervene but gets the Tongan death grip himself. The crowd are on their feet. They are loving the Ming, especially when he gets the Tongan death grip.
Yep.
But then Wrath is able to rip the Ming right out of the move into the death penalty to win.
Love this match.
This match was fine.
I liked it.
This match was fine. It definitely went above expectations for me. It wasn't horrible.
When I was looking at the card for this pay-per-view, that was the match where I'm like, that match is gonna be the stinker. Like, I'm like, this is gonna be the match where it's gonna be like, I might have to turn this show off. And I enjoyed it thoroughly, especially that last spot with the Tongan death grip.
Definitely a
and
good
then
spot.
The super kick, and he's just nothing. I like that spot. That spot was really good.
Yes. Backstage, the Horsemen are being interviewed by Mean God Gene that say that Kurt Hennig is going to be out. They're going to be down a member. They're not sure what's going to happen to Kurt Hennig. And then we get a fiery Ric Flair promo here. This was absolutely tremendous.
Gino Glenn, if I ever thought about quitting when my back was against the wall, I would not be here tonight. Hennig is down. That's the price you pay for being a horseman. But somehow, I know the times All-Pro, and in his leisure time wears a Super Bowl ring. Also next to me, they call him the Crippler, pound for pound, the best wrestler alive today. And that you so fondly want to talk about in this tired old body is more heart, more desire, more soul, and more reality than the NWO will ever know. Woo! And in Winston-Salem, whether it's 3, 4, 2, 1, we will bleed, we will sweat, and you will pay the price for life. Woo!
All right, I think pretty much setting the table for tonight's big main event. Brawl of the War Games. Will it be the 4 horsemen? We don't know. A lot of heart, Tony. Gentlemen, let's get back
the
to
needle mover, Mongo McMichael, can suck my balls.
He's the demo guy.
No, he's not. Ric Flair proving why he is the nature boy and why we are in Flair country, baby.
Yep.
13-time world champion. He says we're going to bleed, we're going to sweat, and NWO is going to pay the price. Woo!
What
Match?
was that?
It was a woo of respect. It was a delicate woo. Match number 6. Sleeper match if there ever was one.
Yeah.
Scott Brickhouse Norton versus the giant I'm Not Andre's Kid, Paul White. It's the battle of the beef and the brick.
This is one of Vince's like wet dreams.
Mm-hmm.
Just 2 beefy boys going at it.
That's right. Yes, it's 2 big bastards going for power moves right out the gate. It's outside brawling. Fists are flying. Boots are going all over the shop. They're going up and over the top rope multiple times. Norton's face heavy off the rail, like stiff. But then the giant gets him up into the fireman's carry position only to get run into the steel post. Then a suplex on the floor. The giant to Scott Norton. They get back in the ring, but only for a moment, as Scott Norton clotheslines the giant up over the top rope. Both men tumble down. Back in the ring, Scott Norton with a low blow, and then delivers a stun gun to the giant. Just picks him up like nobody's business. Throat attacks. We're attacking the throat. We're chopping the throat. We're just bang, clubby blow to the throat. Nothing but throat work.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
The giant is gagging. The giant is gargling, trying to get away from all of this throat work that Scott Norton is forcing him to be a part of.
Stop saying throat.
And we culminate the throat work with a back suplex to the giant by Scott Norton.
Oh my god.
Scott Norton thinks that he's got everything under wraps. He's got everything under control.
Yeah.
When the giant from the ground screams like a zombie. He screams and lifts up his hand. He's like, ah! He grabs hold of the top rope and does a fucking kip up. The giant with a clothesline, a drop kick by the big man. He takes Scott Norton by the throat, picks him up, choke slam down. 1, 2, 3. This match was so exciting.
He saw a 7-foot kick up, man.
Oh, it was brilliant. This was somehow more exciting than the Giant versus the Macho Man, which seems so implausible. But you should not sleep on this match. You should go out of your way to watch this match. Scott Norton versus the Giant was fucking fantastic. Loved every second of it. The Giant picks up a fantastic victory here. Just chef's kiss. Beautiful. Before we move on to the next match, we are talking about whether or not Kurt Hennig will be ready for the War Games, or if it's going to end up being 4-on-3. What's going to happen? What's it going to be? The NWOB team is stronger than ever.
All right.
In match number 7, yes, sir.
Yes.
Diamond Dallas Page and Lex Luger versus Scott Hall in the Macho Madness that wants to murder the bum.
Yeah, it's a classic can they coexist, because of course, if you remember, the DDP and Lex Luger had a little bit of a falling out.
That's right.
DDP hit Luger with a diamond cutter. Luger torture act him, you know.
It's
boys will be boys.
Boys will be boys.
Interesting enough, DDP and Luger were supposed to be part of the War Games match. They were pulled from it by Roddy Piper, because he's like, you guys gotta get your shit in order. This is too important of a match for you guys to be fucking this up. So instead they booked him versus Hall and Savage. Luger and Hall start and Lex shoves Hall around before doing his flexing thing. Luger hits a forearm on Hall and then one on Savage. He runs them into each other and dumps Savage to the floor onto Hall with a press slam. DDP tagged in, but Hall gets a hold of the arm and gets a slam. He slaps DDP around a bit, which fires him up, and he unloads with right hands. Hall misses a clothesline, which lets DDP hit Flapjack. Savage comes in and he's all over DDP to continue their feud that's been going on for like a couple months now. I think like 5-6 months now. DDP fights out of the corner, but Savage grabs the leg to prevent a tag. Hall then stomps Luger down between both rings, which is a cool spot that I haven't. To my knowledge, I haven't seen before.
Oh, Scott Hall loves that spot.
Really?
He loves it. Every single time that there's a double thing, he always stomp me into the middle. It's amazing.
This is my first time seeing it, so I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Hall punches the ref, and he tells the ref to suck it while Elizabeth now is attacking DDP.
Yes. They beat on DDP's ass.
Oh yeah.
for like 6 minutes. It is an outrageous amount of time.
Listen, after seeing all that, a second ref is out and Hall kicks him in the head.
That's right.
And Larry Sabisco, who's been going off on them on the commentary booth the whole night.
It's
he's seen
the only
enough.
reason why he's on commentary tonight.
He's seen enough. He's pissed. He slams down his headset and he heads towards the ring. Larry gets in the face of Scott Hall. Larry stalls as Luger starts to come up from in between the two rings.
Indeed.
Larry continues to stall, and at one point he shoves Hall into Luger so Luger can get a roll up and win.
Wins the match, in which Larry Zbyszko is the one that counts the three.
Yes, Larry counts the three, which I don't even think
it's not possible.
That qualifies as a win.
But Tony and Bobby are like, we'll make our own rules.
Listen, they rang the bell. They're the winner.
Yeah.
And Scott Hall was reacting as if he actually lost. So I guess.
What the fuck happened?
Yeah, I guess it's a win.
Yeah, it's a win. A win is a win. Diamond Dallas Page and Lex Luger, they rule the day.
Yep.
Main event time after a promo for Halloween Havoc. Yeah, Macho Man Randy Savage. Slim Jim's Halloween Havoc. We are contractually obligated to call it that next time that we review.
I'm putting that in the title.
Slim Jim's Halloween Havoc. And now it's main event time.
War games.
Let the games begin, says Michael Buffer. As, we're getting ready. It's the NWO versus Horsemen with a man short. Kurt Hennig. Not going to be available.
Yeah.
He is NA not available.
Yeah, and Michael Buffer, he does his thing. He introduces the match, introduces the rules.
Yeah.
We're not going to go over it because I'm pretty sure you all know how War Games works.
Well, I mean, just in case they don't. much like I had to explain at Uncensored 97 how that battle royal was going to work, or the stakes, the war games.
Give us the war games
Yeah,
rundown.
they normally take place within 2 rings, you see, and 1 major cage, much like a baseball batting cage. Just a long stretch of cage. And in this ring will be 2 members from the opposing team. They will start and they will have 5 minutes of singular wrestling action. But wait.
No, there's more.
There's more. Because at a certain pivotal point, they will take out a quarter, in which they will flip.
Yeah, this is the old
in order to determine who will get the man advantage in the war games cage. Once that happens, then the heels win. Then it will be a 2-on-1 disadvantage, and then a 2 versus 2, a 3 versus 2, and then a 3 versus 3. And then a 4 versus 3. And then in this case,
that's it.
It will remain a 4 versus 3. And the only way to win is to quit. Is to say, I surrender.
Yeah.
Is to say, I give.
Yep.
Is to say, I cannot take anymore.
Or submission.
Or a submission.
All right, let's get into it. Bagwell.
First of all, do you understand the rules of the war games?
Yes.
As I have described them.
Yes, that was a perfect way to describe it.
Great.
Yeah, perfect way to describe it.
Great. Buff Bagwell and Benoit.
They start off. Your guy Bagwell.
I love the idea. I love the idea of being so disinterested in this match.
Listen, Bagwell starts off. He starts off with Benoit, whatever the fuck his name is.
Yes.
He starts doing some of the poses. Chris has had enough, and he tosses Bagwell into the cage. Bagwell eats some chops in the corner and gets suplexed into the cage. Chris gets backdropped into the cage. The ref gets the teams together for the coin toss, and shockingly, the heels win it.
Yes, and at this point, the crowd is obviously chanting, they want Sting.
Of course.
We want Sting.
Because, they see that WCW's down a man, or the horsemen, are down a man. So they're like, who else could it be?
And obviously, we need somebody to step up for the WCW.
And it can be Luger, it can be DDP. Who's left? Sting. So they start chanting Sting. But they get Conan instead. Conan's the next man in. Chris then...
Some would say it's an upgrade to go from Sting to Conan.
No, I'm not going to let you say that.
Some would say.
Find me the some. Don't say that. Chris then slams Conan onto Buff and then sends him into the cage. Buff lands a knee, and then Conan drops him with a DDT. Then they start stomping on Chris as they await for the next entrance, which is like a couple seconds away.
Yeah. And because we've dropped down from every 5 to 2.
Yeah.
Every 2 minutes now.
Yeah.
I believe they were very short on time. I don't remember it being 2 minutes.
It was really quick.
It was a fast cage match.
And again, crowd expecting Sting.
We want
they
Sting.
Get another upgrade in Mongo. He enters fourth, and he runs wild with shoulder tackles on Conan, while Chris chops away at Bagwell.
Tag team boot and drop kick by Mongo and Benoit.
Yep.
One downside of the War Games is that it is very little happening. For a large portion of the match, it is just punches and kicks.
Because nothing really they don't really start picking it up until all the people are in.
Exactly.
Because that's when shit counts. Like, you can actually make them tap and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, because in next we have Six, who runs right into Benoit, who chops his dick off. And then sends him flying off the cage. Six is pressed up to the top of the cage by Mongo and then slammed back down.
Very disrespectful.
yes, indeed. And then, sir, you're going to have to pick up once again here, because I got lost in the magic of Ric Flair getting into the ring. Because Curt Hennig comes down. Yeah. He's in a sling.
Yeah.
And he's like, bro, let me go. I've got the sling, but I'm ready to fight. I'm ready to fight Ric Flair.
So the next entrance is going to come in.
Yeah.
And I guess their original plan was to beat Curt and then leave Flair for last. So Curt comes down regardless, and he's like, yo, this was our plan. Let me get back in there.
But he's in the sling.
Fuck this sling. But Ric Flair's like, no.
It'll be me.
I'll do it. You come in last.
Yeah.
So Flair then comes in.
And I got lost in the magic of entering the cage. Ric Flair comes in, I was just watching as he ran wild.
He runs wild, punches, chops on everyone. Mongo gets a backbreaker on Conan, while Flair and Six head to ring 1, which is, I think, the closest one to the thing. Nash is the last man for NWO.
Yes.
And once he gets in, he goes right for Flair.
Yes.
And hits him with a sidewalk slam. Chris attacks him, but gets caught and smashed into the cage.
This was nonsense. And Six is dangerous. Okay? Because he catches Benoit in the fall-away slam position, slams him into the cage.
Mm-hmm.
Benoit is down in the cage now. Six comes shooting from across the ring and delivers a baseball slide to the back of Benoit's head, and he is sandwiched so hard between Six's feet and the cage.
Yeah.
It was ugly.
And you know the thing with Six too is that because we've seen him since he was the 1-2-3 kid.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure about you or other people listening, but for me, he always gave off like that little brother thing where he's always just the youngest in the thing.
Yeah.
But in this match, he's been around long enough to know that he shouldn't be doing some shit like that.
He's a little bitch.
Like he's old. Like
he is.
By this point, even though he still has like the whole I'm just a wild young guy, he's old enough to know not to do some dumb shit like
honestly, because Nash goes into the next ring and just delivers a big boot to Mongo, who falls tree trunk style.
Of course, it's Mongo.
We're still calling for Sting, even though Curt Hennig is right there. And it's as if the crowd can feel that something's off. It's as if the crowd can feel that something's coming. Because Curt gets ready to enter. We count it down. A low blow by Ric Flair to Sting and Buff Bagwell as Curt Hennig makes his way in. He takes off the sling to reveal that he has 2 sets of handcuffs in his hands. He's shaking them around.
And here's the thing. I'm watching because I've never watched this match. So I'm watching the match, and he takes off the sling, and as you mentioned, the crowd kind of knows something's up, right?
Yeah.
And he takes off the sling. He has both handcuffs, and me, like the dumbass I am, I'm watching the show, and I'm like, oh, he's gonna use it against NWO. I'm sitting there like,
sucked in.
I was sucked in.
You were sucked in.
He takes off the sling, and I'm like, he was faking it. Yeah, we got the upper hand now.
And he got hold. He bunches up the handcuffs and immediately turns heel. Like no pomp and circumstance, no build up or anything. He pushes Nash out the way.
They've never had friction. They've been perfect the whole time.
Yeah. He pushes Nash out the way and just belts Mongo in the face with these these handcuffs. Just belts him in the face, throws the cuffs to Conan, throws the cuffs to Nash, who proceed to cuff Mongo and Benoit to the cage.
And I'm just sitting there like, okay.
It also should have been a clue that he only had 2 handcuffs available. He goes in.
I was sucked into the match. I actually enjoyed the match. So I was like, you know what? We got the upper hand. Then when he clocks Mongo, I'm just like,
yeah.
Fuck.
They end up proceeding to kill Ric Flair. They're just beating him down.
Yeah.
They're beating the piss out of him. Nash gets hold of the microphone. He's like, all right, fellas, what do you say? Do you surrender? And they're like, no. Chris Benoit spits at everybody multiple times. Jackknife powerbomb to Ric Flair, not once, but twice. And then still not giving up. No one is saying that they quit. So then they drag Ric Flair's head right over. Drag him right over to the cage door. And they say, you're going to quit or we're going to kill this man.
But yeah, they didn't say that, but that's basically what they implied because, a steel cage door slamming into your neck.
That's right. And so Mongo says, you got to stop this. All right, we quit. It's it. It's over. It's done. Don't do it. And they do it anyway. Kurt Hennig slams the door right onto the head of Nature Boy Ric Flair. Done and dusted. The NWO win. Mm-hmm. Kurt Hennig has been driven over to the dark side. This match, it was something. It was something.
It was good. The heel turn came kind of out of nowhere because there was just like nothing to indicate that he would turn heel. But it was a good match. It was a decent little match. Like it's not the worst War Games match, but it's also not the best War Game. It's like somewhere in the middle, like upper middle, of like War Games matches.
Yes, and so back to what we were discussing at the beginning of the show about the buy rates being low, the attendance not being all that much, being significantly down from the previous month's pay-per-view, which is notoriously a bad pay-per-view. Wanted to talk to you about it because I was listening to 83 Weeks, Eric Bischoff podcast, in which he doubles down on the stance of this was the right move, this was the right thing to do, because we also have to discuss the fact that there is no Arn Anderson at ringside.
Yeah.
The man that they trashed and buried on air.
Yeah.
He is nowhere to be found.
And then
to help the Horsemen, even just from a supportive standpoint, because he can't get physical.
No, because this I feel like for me this match was doomed from the start because you don't have the proper NWO. Even if you don't get Hogan, if you at least get DDP and Hall, who were on the fucking sorry, not DDP and Hall, my bad. Scott Hall and Nash
is in it.
Nash and Savage.
Yes.
And Bagwell.
Yeah.
Now you got something. But the fact that only Nash is in it and Bagwell, but
Yeah. I mean, all due respect to Bagwell and Six, I have no respect for Conan. But
that's fair. No one does.
They are not on the level of the guys that have been aforementioned
and even in
getting all the wins.
Even in the Horsemen's corner as well, even though that's those are the 4 horsemen that we're going with. Yeah. The fact that you could have had a better lineup because you could have had DDP and Savage and Flair on the same team.
Yeah. And Hennig. Yeah. Which probably would have fit even better for having a Hennig heel turn because DDP's in there.
So you have a pre-existing. You have none of those things. And then on top of that, you don't have Arn Anderson. And then on top of that, you don't have Sting, which people are been begging for. And you don't have Hogan. So it's like, it was kind of doomed from the start. Like you have Conan. And then you have the heel turn. And it's like, all right.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with you. I am firmly in your camp. in regards to listening to the 83 Weeks podcast, Conrad Thompson, he takes the firm stance that this was a very stupid move.
Mm-hmm. This
killed the town. This killed North Carolina. They were never able to draw as well again, which is true. You've never been able to draw again. Horsemen never get their comeuppance. They never get like redemption or anything like that. Anything that's spun off never gets resolved, etc., etc. But Eric Bischoff goes on the standpoint of how were the Horsemen drawing in 1992, 93, 94, 95, 96. They weren't.
Then why put him in that position in the first place?
And it was like, oh, it's Flair country, so we were doing it for heat. We were building up the hardest stable in wrestling for the payoff at Starrcade 1997, which we've talked about and hinted about so much. We will be reviewing Starrcade 1997 in our lead up to our next season, which I'm going to be talking to you about after this episode. Because I think I have an idea. But be that as it may, he says, we were building up. It is heat. It is heat. It is heat. So as much as you have nostalgia for the Horsemen, put the nostalgia aside and realize the fact that the North Carolina was apparently a dead town. Hard to say. I mean, they weren't drawing in the Greensboro Coliseum. By any means.
You could have still had them on the card. It was just the war game should have been a different group of people. You could have still had them, fucking Flair and Kurt versus, I don't know, fucking Bagwell and Six or some shit.
But my question to you is that I think what really sticks in people's craw, as it does for me as well, that because of what they did to Arn Anderson, and the fact that the Horsemen lost coming off of that, that is the main thing that they think killed the town, is that they will always take their favorites and kill them, even though this is grounds for a babyface victory. So my question to you is...
Sorry, and before you even ask that question, because not only did the whole Arn Anderson thing not get resolved, but then they make the hometown heroes look kind of goofy because he surrenders because they're about to hit Ric Flair, but then they still end up hitting Ric Flair. So it's like, so you surrendered for no reason. So now not only did you guys get embarrassed on Nitro, you guys get embarrassed in your home crowd. There's no way you come back from that.
And my question to you is this is double-sided, because Eric Bischoff maintains that this town was dead, but do you think if the Horsemen picked up the win here, would it have sacrificed the NWO too much? Or, in that point, if the Horsemen had won, would we be looking back at this match, at the NWO, at the storyline, at WCW as a whole, more fondly if the Horsemen had picked up the victory here? Because we have to consider the idea that, if the Horseman wins, does that kill NWO momentum? So your opinion, sir.
I don't think it does at all, because, again, like we've been saying the whole show, this is their B team. This wasn't the actual NWO. Like, this is what this team is here for, to get baby faces a win over the NWO, but not really the NWO. You know what I'm saying? Like,
not the main pillars.
Exactly. So I don't think it would have killed their momentum like at all.
And in turn, do you think that would have helped WCW in terms of drawing power if the Horsemen got a victory?
I feel like it would have saved their relationship with North Carolina. I don't think it would have been like a game changer. Like, we would have been looking back like, oh, thank God 4 Horsemen won at War Games. I don't think it would have been that crazy, because, again, it's still the B team of NWO, and there's still a lot of things that they could have done to make this a way better War Games. But I think it would have still given them that respect from the North Carolina crowd and be able to like, you know what, we can still go back because, you know, we were in good faith with the crowd already, right?
Yes.
But, you know, like I said, disrespecting Arn Anderson, a founding member of Four Horsemen, then making them look stupid at the pay-per-view. It's like, why am I going to show up for the next?
Yeah.
Because you got to think about, like, it's not like now where, like, if, like, let's say me and you go to a show and we don't enjoy it.
Yes.
You know, we still have the internet. We can watch their next show in Pittsburgh and be like, yo, you know what? They just probably had a bad night or whatever. But back then, it's like, if you fuck up like if you mess with the crowd, you're not going to be able to go back to that city, right? Because it's not that, like, there wasn't that forgiveness that there is now. I feel like now there's like a lot more leeway where, like, if you go to a show and it's not as great, next time they show up, you're still gonna get tickets. You're still gonna line up. Back then, I don't think it was as
because
it wasn't as friendly.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a deadly 1-2 combo for WCW, and my main reason why is because they were in competition with Raw, with WWE, that were, as you pointed out during the ratings war section, was starting to gain ground.
Yeah.
They were starting to have television that was more interesting than that of WCW programming. And even though they weren't drawing as well as they were in the 80s in the NWA when Four Horsemen was at its peak, Charlotte, North Carolina, or North Carolina in general, was a home base for WCW. Die-hard fans. And if you're going to kill that town off for the sake of the New World Order, even if you've resurrected it with the NWO, it's like a double-edged sword here. It's like, yes, you have the hotter property in your heel NWO faction, but I think it was short-term effectiveness for let's keep getting them heat. Let's keep getting them heat because Sting will pay it off. But then what about your second-tier baby faces or your third-tier baby faces?
And even if they would have done it in a way where it makes the Four Horsemen lose, but they look like badasses as they lose, like, oh, now it's a 5 against 3, but they just keep fighting. But the fact that it was like, oh, he turns heel, 1 punch, Mongo's out.
Yeah.
Handcuffs, and then jackknife to Ric Flair. It's like, all right, so you're not even giving me anything for me to be excited about. Yeah. Right? You know what I'm saying?
Like, I don't understand why we couldn't have had an Arn Anderson throwing in the towel.
That would have been better than
I don't understand.
Yeah, that would have been amazing.
If you just have all of the horsemen they've been cuffed or they're killing Ric Flair.
And they just keep refusing.
And they just won't. And like, even if Mongo had passed out and it's just Benoit left and he's just like, or actually I would give it to Mongo. I think Mongo could sell it more because I'll give credit to Mongo, and this will be the only time that I do.
Finally.
That Mongo was selling it a bit more with the desperation and like, you sons of bitches, like, stop with Flair.
Yeah.
Whereas Benoit is just spitting. So if which is badass. But if you like knocked out Benoit, Mongo is on his last legs. He's like, I want to. I want to, but I won't. I won't because I know that you won't allow it. And then Arn, who's suffered the career-ending injury, he knows this could be taken away from you at any moment. He comes down with that towel and he's like, fuck it, stop.
Yeah.
And then kill off Ric Flair if you want, but at least they're more badass in the fact that none of them were like, we can't because we know what this means. And
then you can even recover. You can even recover from that because then in the next Nitro, you just have Arn Anderson come down and it basically say what you said. Like, I suffered a career-ending injury. I know what it's like, so I didn't want to see my best friend go through that. Blah blah
exactly.
blah.
And he would have major guilt because he gave Curt Hennig his spot as the enforcer. There's a lot.
Oh my God, I didn't even think of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't understand why they didn't go that route with an Arn Anderson.
Holy
because I
shit.
just don't understand why Arn Anderson wasn't used in any form. I get that he can't be physical. I get that you can't use Arn.
Yeah, he can still throw in a towel. That's
exactly.
Not...
like, because he had already gone under the knife. He had already had his surgery. Nothing was going to happen from him throwing in the towel. But be that as it may, I think, it's a deadly 1-2 combo of disrespecting Arn. And not even just about the horsemen, but just killing off baby faces that could help you.
And you're talking like back in those days. It's not like now where like the wrestling product is more like it's more like a general purpose. Like whoever, like this is for whoever. Yeah. Back in the days, it was very territorial. Like if you go to a city, you need to know what type of environment that city is, what they like, what they don't like. So. Dropping the ball like this is a deadly thing that could happen.
And the thing is as I mentioned about the war, you kill off that town, you only draw 11,000 people. Okay. In what is this September, so let's say 6-7 months time, the WWE goes to Greensboro, the Greensboro Coliseum in April of next year.
98, yeah.
And they draw 21,000 people. They sell out the Greensboro Coliseum. And that right there is telling to me, because where you fail, the WWE always swoops in and is like, okay, you've killed off the town. Here's us, and here's our product. And by the way, our product actually caters to the audience that we're actually doing it for.
And it's like playing risk. Like once you get hold of that territory, that shit's you. Like it doesn't matter what you put on the card next. That's going to be a WWE territory now.
Exactly.
Exactly. Because they know that like if they pay their money to go see the show. WWE is going to take care of them. That's unlike right.
They're going to bring something that's more compelling. They're going to bring D-Generation X. They're going to bring, just talking about that Unforgiven show. It's a very good show. They're going to bring DX. They're going to bring Sable in a evening gown match, so you get your little titillation. They're going to bring you an Inferno match in which the Undertaker stands tall, burning his brother. And then we're going to have Steve Austin on top in the main event for the WWF title. We are giving you things in Greensboro, in North Carolina, in WCW country. And even if the crowd isn't like lightning hot, they're still getting their money's worth. And they're still getting proof that every time they do come back, they're going to get good wrestling, good entertainment, which is something that they didn't get from WCW. So I think, had they gone over, or had they at least been protected in going over, instead of brutally buried, I think
by the B team.
Yes, I think we'd be looking at a WCW that might have been able to linger a bit longer. But it's because you kept killing your baby faces, and then you didn't stick the landing. Oof. But yes, it's a good conversation to have as to what might have been. But we must deal with the match of the night, the standout star, and the overall show grade, which is very difficult this time around, because overall, I thoroughly enjoyed this pay-per-view. I think it's a sleeper pay-per-view that people should be going back and having a look at, because this was fantastic. But match of the night, standout star, show grade, Just John, what do you have for me, sir?
My match of the night, this was a tough one, because there's a couple matches here that I really, really enjoyed. I'm gonna go with Eddie and Jericho.
The opener.
Opening
cruiserweight. Very
good.
Go
with Eddie and Jericho. My standout star is Alex Wright.
You are. You're on the Alex Wright train.
I'm on the Alex Wright train, man. I love seeing it, man.
As you should.
And then my overall show grade was 4.5. If it weren't for the Jared Malenko match, and the ending to the DDP and Outsiders match.
Oh, you didn't like the ending?
It was all right. I would have liked an actual ref to count the pit, like,
yes,
because leaving it up in the air like that, I would like the match wasn't bad at all. It's just the fact that kind of just got left like up in the air. Like, did they win? Did they not win? Is this a point for NWO? Is this a point for WCW? What are we doing here?
Yes.
But other than that, like, almost a perfect show. If you just shorten the Dean Malenko Jeff Jarrett match, or just cut it in general.
Honestly,
like, if you cut that match, we would have had a perfect pay-per-view. Yeah,
very good, very good. I agree most wholeheartedly. Match of the night is going to the Steiners and Harlem Heat for me.
Good match.
A match that I was not looking forward to. The tag division, as you've mentioned countless times, has really been a drag down.
Yeah.
But I felt that these men over-delivered. And again, I truly think that they went out there with something to prove. Like, they needed to prove something. I don't know what was going on internally.
Probably something backstage.
Yeah, if somebody pissed them off, or if because the tag division is being held hostage by the Outsiders, I don't know. But whatever it is, it worked. And following that up, my standout star is going to be the tag team of the Steiner brothers. I thought their comebacks were really good. I thought they were really good with the crowd. Again, every time that they were having any type of comeback, it was a catch and slam. And the formula works. Every time they did it, they lit up the crowd. It was great.
Especially when you find them a good dance partner. It's like, who doesn't want to watch 4 giant guys just fucking belly suplex each other and
Absolutely.
shit?
And I think that this match showcased why in WCW these two were the pillar tag teams, why they were always tag champs, why they were always going after each other. This really made sense and made it clear to me, oh yeah, that's why they talk about them so fondly. I needed a reminder.
They just have great chemistry.
Exactly. I needed a reminder, and I got it in that match. And then the overall show grade, 4.5, I agree with you, because there were just little things.
Just kind of
that
things.
Really were like,
Yeah.
like they just kept hitting where I'm like,
It's like,
why did you do that?
You'll be having a great time, and then like something will happen. You're like,
Yeah. Because it's like there are just many points in the show where it's like, oh, why did you do that? But why that though?
Honestly, you trim a little bit of the fat, and this becomes just the perfect 5 out of 5 show.
Exactly. Yeah. Like if they shaved 5 minutes off of the right dragon, would have been great. If the Malenko Jarrett match had either been cut or just booked to make Malenko
better.
Like why is Malenko taking a clean lot to Jeff Jarrett of all people? Mortis and Wrath and the Phases of Fear. It's a fine match, but it starts out really boring. And then, of course, the finish to the main event where you just kill off the Horsemen. And it's like, I get it from a heat standpoint.
Yeah.
I get it. But it's so short-term thinking that it is really, like, detrimental.
You know what? To be honest, if I were to come into this pay-per-view with no prior knowledge of the storylines, I feel like I would bump it up to a 5, because all the mistakes that we did talk about were mistakes mostly just because we've been watching the product for a little bit, especially even the main event, because we know about the Arn Anderson stuff. We know what's but like
we know what's coming after.
If you go in with just like, I'm just gonna watch the show, I can see you giving it maybe like a 5 or closer to like a 4.8. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But because we have just all the like the backstories to all of this, it's like this was a good pay-per-view, but it could have been better because we know the things that could have been done.
Honestly.
But
fundamentally, flawless show.
Yeah,
all the matchups make sense. All of the storylines leading up are cohesive. They're coherent.
Except for the Malenko-Jarrett match, no one was actually slacking off. Like, everyone brought their A game. Jericho and Eddie brought their A game. Alex Wright and Dragon were fantastic. Yeah. Harlem beat Steiners.
The sleeper match of Norton and the Giant over-delivered.
Exactly.
The main event is fine. Like,
it's a decent main event.
Good work.
Yeah.
But the little
even the DDP. Yeah. Their match was very good. Like, very good. And like the ending, it was only a problem for me just because I didn't like it.
But you listen to the crowd. The crowd exploded.
They popped for Larry. They went crazy for when Larry went up there and went face to face with Hall. They were going fucking crazy.
So it was there. All the pieces were there. And I totally agree. If they just tweaked a little bit, we're looking at an incredible show.
Listen, one day we're gonna review a 5 out of 5 show. Don't worry, we're getting there.
Let's see if it's the next one, because that's Halloween Havoc 1997, headlined and culminating our year-long storyline that we have followed. Hollywood Hogan, Rowdy Roddy Piper, they clash one more time.
And you get the legendary match of Eddie and Rey.
And Rey Mysterio.
So that's on there too.
There is a lights out match with Diamond Dallas Page and Randy Savage.
Oh, shit.
They complete their feud.
Yes, that ends at Halloween Havoc too.
Yeah, so we are coming to a close on a few storylines and a few things that have really encapsulated our time. And the reason that I wanted to take a look at it was 10 years later, Hogan and Piper clashing once again. Was it good? Was it shit? Is it a sleeper feud? Is it one that should be looked back in reverence? Or is it what is been touted as age in the cage?
Oh my God. And make sure you guys go on Twitter and let us know. Was this a perfect show? Was Fall Brawl 97 a perfect show? Yes. Are we just nitpicking?
Are we nitpicking?
Let us know if you've watched the show. Maybe watched it live when it happened.
Or have watched it recently.
Exactly. Yes. Let us know. Was it a 5 out of 5, or do you think we were right with the 4.5? Yes.
Or are we overhyping it?
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
Yes.
Was this a terrible show? Yes. Let us know.
Are we overhyping? Are we crazy?
The Colossal Tussle won. Let us know.
And we will see, because after all, thank you so much for joining us for this episode of the Colossal Tussle podcast. Leave us a rating, review, like, share, and subscribe on all of the platforms, such as
we are on Google Podcasts, Audible, Stitcher, Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube,
iHeartRadio.
iHeartRadio is the new one as well.
Yes.
So anywhere where you can listen to podcasts, we are there.
Yes.
If your platform has a like button, like it. If it has a subscribe button, subscribe.
Yes.
Do all those things.
Yes. And share it if you like us as we continue to build our community. We are gaining some very good traction. We are multinational. We are worldwide. They're listening to us all over the place. But we want to continue to build, to bring you more and more content. We would love to open up a Patreon at one point, in which we have some things lined up that we would like to put on there. If we have the backing to do so. So yes, share us around if you enjoy us, even if somebody is curious about old wrestling and just want to have a little taste of nostalgia with some Canadian boys. Send them our way and they will not be disappointed.
Yeah, and if you are a indie promotion, in Canada or anywhere in the world, you can hit us up at our email, which is colossaltusslepod@gmail.com. Hit us up at our email and we'll shout out your show at the beginning of the pod.
And not just your show, but anything you wish for us to sponsor.
Yeah.
Anything you wish for us to plug and promote. We are here to support Canadian independent wrestling, to support Canadian shows, to support Canadian items and activities, and not just sparing Canada. We will promote your shit worldwide. If you are in India, If you are in Greece somewhere with a little soap shop and you need a little extra nudge, feel free to contact your Canadian boys.
Come on, bring it back in.
We'll shill anything. But until next time, our final stop, Just John, final stop on this road of storyline, we are out.